Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you had a great week. So last week we were discussing two scenarios. You can see that although we did push into the trend line, we didn't really have any major selling. The reason for that is we had bullish data, so we were continuing along this green path that we discussed. That is potentially, going to break this previous high into all-time highs. Although the B wave you can see here, the level here at 5596 is a previous level of resistance. So it wouldn't be a surprise to see some selling on Monday. But again, as long as we see some selling into the trend line and that holds above, we're very likely headed up to go break into all-time highs. And then we'll likely have that larger sell into the seasonality of September. So we're likely going to be bullish in the September.
This short clip is presented by Chase. Fast track your learning curve and profit with our LaDuc Trading Slack community. It is ideal for beginners who love the chase. Chase provides access to not only Samantha's daily market thoughts and chase trades, but also her fabulous team of live stage mentors who share their actual trades and risk management stops across equities, options, and futures. You also get access to custom trade support when you need it. For more information, visit www.laductrading.com/chase.
And again, that the clue that gave off the wicks, if you look at wicks, we were kind of looking at 18. The gap fill at 18 to kind of produce a bounce. We had a trend line here. So what did we end up doing? We barely, right? We cut through the trend line and we continued selling. So the minute we broke this trend line, that was our clue that the market was going to continue moving higher. And that's what it did. And right now, you can see the wicks is on support and it's kind of gapping up this morning. So I would say that they were likely right now, it is pretty oversold. So that's why I kind of think we do have some selling maybe Monday into Tuesday, and then we likely continue higher. Again, these are major levels of resistance. So, I mean, we could just pop into Monday and then sell and then continue higher. So that's ideally kind of what I'm looking at. And the market coincide with wicks just kind of having that oversold bound, maybe testing the underside of the trend line before it continues down. You can also see that this has that wick to the downside, and we do have an unfilled gap at 10.8, 11-ish. That's kind of ideally what I see for the market and bigger picture. But what I want you to know is that when we do make that higher, we are looking, this would be our wave 3 top, and we are going to be, again, this ABC is, again, I'm just going to leave this on the chart in case the market surprises us with a giant sell at this level. But the way the structure is moving, if you go to the daily chart of the market, generally when you see such sideways consolidation and breakout, that's very healthy market buying. It's been on decent volume. It's nothing extraordinary. So this is very like systematic kind of buying. So that's why I do think that we could kind of come retest this level and then go higher, or we push into the green. Either here or here, we're likely going to have a little bit of selling, which is very normal. Nothing goes straight up. But again, wave fives are known for their bullishness. But yeah, bigger picture is kind of what I see. But once we do hit this wave 3 top, let me zoom out. You can see here that this was our 1-2 in the market. So when we do hit the wave 3 top, we will have a bunch of selling. Obviously not in a straight line. Let me remove these fibs for you. I know it's a lot of lines, but yeah, it's kind of what I see, right? Once we hit that wave 3 top, we'll have that A wave, our B wave, and then the C wave before we move higher. So I'm going to, again, change this into the green color. So regardless, right, I am still looking for these levels to touch before we have another rally higher. But yeah, as I mentioned, given the way the market is looking, any sell is likely going to get bought up till it makes that new high. And then we'll kind of see what happens next. We look at the dollar, it's been pretty damn weak, right? Once we broke this channel, it's very likely going to head down at least into 100.76. We look at the yields staying weak. Once we kind of broke down, we didn't kind of have that bounce. We did, but we couldn't get out of the channel. So once we broke support, we continued selling off. So again, yields does not look too good. This does look like an A, a B, a C. So it probably hits down to like 3.3-ish before it kind of bounces. And then we'll kind of see what happens at the level in the market. So yeah, bigger picture is kind of what I have. QQQ, again, you can see, right? I discussed the bottom of this channel and why it wouldn't be a surprise if we continued bouncing higher. So similarly, on QQQ, this would be a 1-2 pushing off. We do have a gap to fill, so maybe we have a little bit of bullishness in the Monday, but yeah, to be a 3 or 4 and 5. Potentially push back into the top of that channel, and then you will likely have a bigger sell, which is actually even more than this. It's very likely gonna come fill some lower gaps on QQQ before it bounces. So yeah, bigger picture, I kind of have the same on most of the indexes. This generally when a wave 4, you can see here, this is where the previous wave 4 kind of ended in the market. So generally when it gets bought up, that means you're in your 5th and final wave, and that would kind of be the wave to short. So yeah, I will be looking for a bigger short once we approach the top of this channel. For now, I do think any selling will likely get bought up and push higher. I did show you the bear version where this is your A, this is your B, and this is your C on PPU. So, I mean, again, like I said, I don't think that's going to happen. But extreme case, like the Japan news, if that does happen, you do need to keep an eye out for that. And I would say that would only be if you break below, let's say 459, 458. Then that would be more probability. Otherwise, it's just healthy selling that continues higher as long as the wicks continues to be weak. Such kind of wicks just leads to an oversold bounce that continues lower. So yeah, with that being said, let's look at this week's watch list. The first stock I have is Amazon, and the reason for that is you can see here we do have a large unfilled gap, and again, if we are in a wave 5, Amazon potentially is in a wave 5 too. So as long as we do have a gap to fill, don't be surprised if we do fill 172.88, but as long as we sell and hold above, either we push 175 is the level to stay above. Right now we are gapping up at 177, so as long as we hold over 177, we can push into 179, and the gap fill is all the way at 183. So we are likely going to head to 183, but don't be surprised if you have a little bit of selling to retest and push higher. But yeah, Amazon likely is heading higher. And the next one I have is Airbnb. Again, I have been bearish on this ever since it broke 145, right? And again, you can see the channel of Airbnb in the market. We have broken a long-term channel. You can see here, this was a rising wedge. We broke it, and now it's trying to have an oversold bounce. So again, as long as you can see here, kind of was in a range between 119 and 116. So as long as we stay below 116, we should approach 114 and then retest 112. So I do think we come into the 108 fib before it has another bounce on Airbnb. So something like push like this, and then it kind of bounces before it goes lower. So it's kind of what I see on Airbnb. And that's why I kind of think as long as we stay below this inside day breakdown, it likely heads down. The next one I have is CLH. And again, the reason for that is kind of had that inside week on the market, and you can see here we kind of bounced off of 0.5 pips. So this inside week, as long as we stay over 40.5, it should have another breakout at least into 43, 45 on CLH. Bigger picture, it is pretty oversold, so I do think an oversold bounce is due on CLH, so that's the reason. And inside week could lead to a nice bounce higher. And last but not the least, I have XOM, and again, it's kind of very, though it's had upside, this kind of upside is kind of stingy upside. It's not had a very like smooth upside. And again, you can see here we have been rejecting this 119 level for a bit on XOM. So that's the reason I do think that we do. But yeah, you can kind of see here we have been rejecting this level at 119, 120. So I do think as long as we like stay below 120, like it's probably right. You can see here we do have a gap up here. Pretty likely, maybe not directly this week, but very likely, going to come down and test this 114 level. So that's the reason, right? This resistance, as long as we stay below, it is bearish for XOM to come fill this gap lower. So yeah, that's all I have for this week. I hope you have a great day.
Subscribe to LaDuc Trading YouTube channel for more Wolf's weekly wave list videos and other content.